I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What is up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to the One Day at a Time After Show. Today, we are going to be talking about the Season 4 premiere called Checking Boxes. I am your host, Taylor Gates, and I am so excited. We are still doing the show, though. We are obviously remote. We are, distant. We're apart physically, but together, we're obviously together. So I am joined by two lovely co-panelists today. We have a returning AfterBuzz veteran, overall queen, Candice Cruz.
Oh, well, thank you. That was very nice. Hi, guys.
It's true. And we also have an AfterBuzz newbie, but she's amazing. She's perfect for this panel. She is Puerto Rican, like so many of the cast members. She's also a military veteran, just like Penelope. We have Elysa Acosta Milan.
Hey guys, I'm so excited that this is my first time shooting with AfterBuzz TV, and like she said, I have so much in common with Penelope, so I am excited to talk about this panel. Let's get started.
Yes,
what branch were you? I just got really excited. What branch of military were you?
The Marines. I'm actually still in. I'm just a reservist.
Oh, amazing.
That's so exciting. You're going to bring so much knowledge, and I just can tell this is going to be a great little girl gang right here. I'm super Yes, let's dig right in. So what were your guys' overall thoughts on this episode? I mean, we're kicking off the Season 4 premiere. We're on a different network now, but I think it really kept the same spirit. Candice, what did you think of this first episode?
Listen, I love this whole family. I do. The Alvarez family has a place in my heart. It just reminds me so much of like my own family, and it's so refreshing to have them back. I know how strong these fans are, that they fought to have a season 3, they fought to have a season 4 and ended up on a different network. I love the slight little jab that we had at the beginning, obviously. For those of you that are huge fans of the show, they moved from Netflix to Pop. So I loved that little like hint, wink, wink. But as they do in One Day at a Time true fashion, I love that they're tapping into like heartfelt topics and very relevant topics and making it something that is entertaining for the viewer.
Absolutely. Very well said. What about you, Elysa?
I agree with Candice. I see so much of my family in like the whole series. I was talking to my brother earlier about it. Shout out to him and his family in Hawaii that are watching right now. And I said, this is so funny because even though they're Cuban in the series, my family's Puerto Rican, and we have a lot of the same habits that they do, where everybody has to be together and we're all loud and we have a great time together. And that's what the Alvarez family really brings to this, especially in this time right now where we're all mostly quarantined with the coronavirus going on. It's nice to be able to have a show to watch and to laugh with. So I really think that that does bring a lot because of what's going on right now.
I completely agree. Like the timing could not be better for this to premiere, because like we all need a little joy. We all need a little like family warmth. And I think this is just like the perfect like balm for your heart for that.
And we're taking it one day at a time.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Great reference. This is why you're I don't know what else to say. Let's start off by breaking down two of our faves, Elena and Syd. So they are seniors now, I guess, which is crazy because I'm like, no, you guys are like 12. It's still season 1. This is not happening. But they are about to go to college next year. Elena obviously is dead set on Yale, which I love. Very Rory Gilmore of her to be on the Ivy League. And Syd's a little more realistic. She's like, yeah, I'm probably going to get into, one of your safety schools, which I thought was so funny. But they've decided that they are going to break up before college, so they're not like those people thinking that they're going to marry their high school sweethearts. What did you guys think of this? I was personally very saddened to hear this.
I felt the same way. I thought they were going to like be together a lot more for the episodes when they were talking about the fact that, hey, we're just going to stay together in high school and then college is not going to work. And, me being in the military, I've done a lot of like long distance relationships, so I can attest to kind of how that is. And I get what they're saying, but they seem like they're so great together. And the fact that they actually at the end decided like, hey, we actually want to make this work. I'm glad that they were willing to give it a try and not just fall into that facade of, well, it never works for anybody. Why would it work for us? Well, it could work for you. And they seem like they're willing to give it a shot.
Yeah,
and I think too, I get where they're coming from. They're very much, I feel like this couple they don't want to be like anybody else on purpose. And I know those people from high school where they would do something just because it was not the popular thing. They wanted to go against the grain. And I almost feel like Syd and Elena fall into that trap sometimes. And I'm really glad that they came to realize, like, it really doesn't matter what other people think, whether they're going to be those people or not, or those people what they perceive, as long as they're happy. And you know what? It may work. What happens if it does work? That could be amazing. You know what I mean? Like, when you find your person, whoever that may be, like, you have to at least give it a shot. You can't just end it and be like, we don't want to be those people, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'd be doing a disservice to themselves if they didn't at least try. Especially, it's like, oh, we're mature. We're not like other people. Like, that's not a good reason if you truly love this person. But I love how they kind of came to the realization that they didn't actually want to do it. Like, we had Alex in there. They're like, we're trying to stay away from each other, not talk for 2 days, which I thought was hilarious because they couldn't even do that. They're freaking out after like 24 hours. And I love Elena's little spiral where she's like, Syd's gonna break up with me now. Like, they're probably dating the barista now. Because I think that is so Elena to just like get inside of her own head and just like go down a rabbit hole that has no basis like to it. She's so smart, but like she is very like dramatic in some certain ways, I think.
And I also love the one line where she was like, Mom, I wish I could just be like you, that you don't need anybody. And I was like, that's the wrong jab to throw at someone.
Her kids, like Penelope's kids, they try. They really have the best intentions, but like sometimes you just say things and I'm like, no, honey, no. I also really liked the part that Lydia played in this, like their relationship too, though, because obviously she called Syd and pretended to be Elena, and they're like, did that actually work? And Syd's like, oh, I wanted a reason, like I wanted to believe it. But I love how Lydia and Alex are like on the complete same page. They're like, we cannot let this happen because we cannot deal with her 24 hours a day. Like, you need to take her off of our hands.
Well, I love how Lydia is, just her character in general. She is so funny, and when you see Rita when she's in real life and how differently she talks, and then how she's able to transform herself, she just brings so much comedy to the show. And I'm like, she nails it every time. Like, I just love every time she comes on screen because you never know what she's gonna say next, and it's just so funny.
She's fabulous. Like, when she walks in a room, like, all heads turn. She just has that it factor.
Yes. She has that energy that just makes everyone stop in their tracks. She's just like, she is, you know.
She's an EGOT. Like, come on.
Exactly.
When you're an EGOT, you turn heads.
Yeah, exactly. Absolute queen. We also have Penelope going through her own kind of fair share of relationship problems and kind of just trying to figure out things. And it starts out with Lydia like crawling into her bed with that, which I thought was so funny, and telling her this story of the aunt who, you know, never had a man but found joy in all of these places, and she drank herself to death, but she had a beautiful, you know, very spacious funeral. What did you guys think about this story? I felt so bad for Penelope at this point.
But I felt like it was so genuine of a story from Lydia. Like, I think she had that intention of throwing her off, but also I think it was very genuine and she really didn't mean to throw her off. Like, it didn't feel like she was pushing anything on her. She was just like, you know, Tia Chuchi, we love her. Like, she was trying to throw off all these like good vibes, even though it was so ill-driven.
But do you expect anything less from Lydia? I mean, she goes in there and Penelope's like, Mommy, you're so nice, and thank you for that compliment, and I'm watching sad Lifetime movies, and it makes me feel better. And then her mom just kind of goes on this rampant, and then she leaves, and Penelope is like, that didn't make me feel any better about my life. Thank you.
It's like the same thing with the kids, like such good intentions, but just like horrible execution.
Exactly.
After that, I love that we get Penelope in her sort of group therapy scene. I think those are some of the absolute most fun scenes in this entire show. And she kind of goes down the same Elena rabbit hole where she's like, I'm gonna die alone. Like, obviously this wasn't meant to work out. This wasn't meant to work out. And so obviously like mother, like daughter a little bit here. But what did you guys think of the group therapy scene?
Well, there's so many personalities in there, and I love when they talk because you have people that kind of just go on tangents and they want to talk about things, but Penelope just comes in there and she always has problems, so they really don't get to anybody else. But I just love the personalities of everybody in the group because they bring a certain dynamic to it, and it's good to see like how they play a role in her life, like how they said, okay, you didn't think this was a big idea or a big deal, but you called 911. We were all here, so it is a big deal. But they don't want to make it seem that way because they want to talk about themselves, and it's always about Penelope.
I love the format of this circle, you know, like it's such it's so relevant. You've got so many different personalities, but it also feels very nostalgic in a way of just the setup of the scene, right? It feels very sitcom-y in the best way possible, if that makes sense. Because it is a sitcom, right? And that's why I love this show so much too, is that it's bringing back, like, reviving nostalgia in the best way possible. And it just makes me feel like warm and fuzzy every time I see it. Because it does feel like those old shows that I watched in like the early 2000s that I grew up on, just like with the semicircle, with the way that they're like throwing it back and forth. It's just great. I love the setup, and like feel like these girls could just improv for days and be fine.
Yes, so true. I know that I saw on Twitter, Gloria posted a lot of like scripts, and there was like 10 different jokes for each line, but I'm sure there's like, once people improv, it's probably like 25 different like things that could have been included, just because everyone's so naturally funny. And I agree with you. I really, really like that setup, and I feel like you're right. It does feel sitcom-y, but like not in like this not cheesy way. Like they
not cheesy by any means. No.
Yeah,
it's the art of sitcom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, we get Penelope. She decides that she is going to go for it. She's going to go on another date. The guy seems perfectly nice, but unfortunately, he's not Max. And we get reminded of that so many times. The guy keeps morphing into Max. I love that she sees him on her salad. I think that's like the funniest.
Pulls it away.
Would you like me to address that for you? I thought it was just so good. What did you think about that scene, Elysa?
Well, I was kind of hoping that Max would actually be there in real life. I mean, after she saw him last episode, I thought they were going to get back together. And unfortunately, they didn't. So I'm thinking, okay, it's a new season. I know she doesn't want to be with him because he wants kids and she doesn't. But maybe there can be a compromise somehow and he'll come back. But the fact that she went on a date with somebody and she was thinking about him, that told me something. Like, hey, you're not really in with this guy. You want to be with Max, because she couldn't focus. And it was kind of like, okay, tell me a little bit about yourself, but I don't really care about that. So I was definitely rooting for her all the way. Like, just go and find Max and just try to figure out how you guys can make this work.
Totally agree. And I love that Schneider agrees with us too, because we Penelope go rant to him, which I always love. Like, they just have such a fun friendship. And he's like, well, yeah, if you're always tempted to go say hi in the hospital, go say hi in the hospital. Like, why not do it? And so she does end up doing that. But unfortunately, heartbreakingly, Max is in Indonesia working for Doctors Without Borders. Candice, were you surprised that he was like not there? Like, did you think that she was gonna like be able to link up with him again?
I mean, listen, in an ideal world, I would have loved that. Like, that is such a, like, I would totally do that. I do not have a problem texting first or going after whatever. So I was like, so for Penelope doing her thing, like being the powerful woman that she is. And I also do love a little rewind that she was like, everyone kept saying you're a powerful woman, you don't need a man or whatnot. But I do understand her saying like, no, I don't need it, but I want it. And so for her going after what she wanted, I'm really proud of her for that. I'm also kind of glad that he wasn't there, because it would have felt just too perfect. Like, this is just a premiere, guys. So like, we have to have somewhere to grow. And if we really want them to be in game, we can't have them like start off with a bang and just like be back together and happy-go-lucky again. Like, if we really want it, you know, all good things come to those who wait. So
very good point. Yeah.
We just kind of got to marinate it. He was introduced obviously for a reason. Like, he was not just there for no reason, but I don't think that we're going to see him for a little bit.
Yeah, that reminds me, I want to take it back a little bit. Speaking of people who are introduced for a reason or no reason, because during that opening we were talking about, we get Ray Romano as Brian, the census taker, who, oh my gosh, so fun to see him. I absolutely thought this was such a fun intro scene. We had the whole band back together, and Ray Romano, like you really can't get much better than that. What do we think about his character? Do you think it was just like a fun little one-off cameo, or do we think that maybe he's gonna grow into something more?
I mean, he's a census guy. Like, I really don't feel like it was more than just like a really cool, amazing guest star for the opening. Because the census comes around once every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love bringing up the census though, and I'm really glad that they are focusing on it, because I feel like that's such a an interesting conversation right now within our country and the conversations that are having in our government. So I'm really glad that they like featured that and explained it, and did with what they did and still made it like lighthearted and funny. Because Ray Romano, like, how could it not be? He's like
exactly. What about you, Elysa?
Well, when he came inside the house, I don't think he knew what he was stepping into. I mean, obviously, like, in real life he did, but as his character, he was just like, I'm just here to take a poll. And it was just, oh, okay, well, I'm the mother and I'm the daughter, and this is like my person, but she identifies as they, so it was just so many different characters coming at him, and he was like, okay, that's not part of this, this is not part of this, and they were just giving it to him anyway. It was like an open diary of the Alvarez family, and he was just like, okay, I'm gonna go now. I wish he had just slammed the door and kept it shut, because now I'm just scarred for life.
Yeah, I think it worked so well too, because it is on a new network now, obviously. So if someone's just jumping in, like, they get a full recap of who everyone is within like 2 minutes, which I thought was really smart. But also, yeah, it's a really cool conversation about the census, and I like how Elena was like, this is really important because, it decides kind of where funds go and where like different government seats go, which is something that I honestly wasn't super educated about. So I thought it was really cool that we had Elena, who's educated about everything, sort of share with the audience at a time that obviously this is extremely relevant because the census is happening this year. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool scene too. We also get some little tidbits about the other characters in this. One of my favorite tidbits that we got was that Schneider has asked Avery to move in, and Avery has accepted, which I was so excited about. How did you guys feel about that?
I loved it. I was so excited. I loved how Penelope came over and she was so happy for him. I didn't know how she was going to take it, but I personally think she's secretly glad, because hopefully that means he won't be coming over as much, but this is so I'm pretty sure he's still going to come over. He probably will just bring her with him. But I was excited. I mean, he's always with somebody for like a day or two and it doesn't work out, and he really liked her. And then we saw last season how they broke up and then they got back together. So I was really excited that the characters are moving along with this relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
I also love that they're a real life couple and have a baby.
I know, they're so
I'm
cute.
obsessed with them on Instagram. They're the cutest couple I've ever seen. I love them, and their dynamic on screen is just like prime.
I totally agree. They're like so cute and so quirky and just like such a fun match. We also get a little line at the end, which apparently means that Alex has a new little match too, in the form of Nora. Obviously, we'll get into more with predictions, but were you guys surprised by this? Like, he's our little papito. He's a little baby.
No, he's a little Rico Suave.
True.
He's a little Rico Suave. Give it to him. Like, listen, if I was in school and that age, he's a Rico Suave. He's got that like pop off one-liners. He's smart. Yeah.
He's adorable.
I would have to say I wasn't really surprised, because this totally seems like something that Alex would do. Say, oh, I forgot to tell you I have a girlfriend. Oh yeah, I have a girlfriend.
Just drop it at the end.
But the fact that his abuelita was like, what? And she was just so like upset about that. I'm like, come on. Like we know that like you are always going to be upset if he's with somebody else and doesn't pay attention to you all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought that was such a fun thing to end with, and I'm sure that we're gonna definitely get more of that as the season progresses. But overall, yeah, super strong opening, and I'm so excited to see where else the season takes us. But we're not done discussing things yet because we have a couple fun pieces of news and special segments for you guys. So Candice, would you like to share some one day at a time news with everyone?
Yes, absolutely, guys. So I'm so excited because we have our showrunner, one of our showrunners. Actually, both of them were contributors. So Gloria Calderon-Kellett and Mike Royce are obviously the co-showrunners for One Day at a Time, and they were featured in Variety. Variety did an amazing culmination of articles of a lot of people that live in Hollywood, that work in Hollywood, whether they're filmmakers or actors or writers, and just talking about how COVID-19 has been affecting them, how their life has changed with the pandemic, and with obviously all of us. I'm located in Los Angeles and located all over the world, basically being our lives putting on hold to make sure that we keep everyone safe and healthy. And so I'm trying to find the actual article again because I want to actually say a quote from it, but I'm scrolling through it and I lost it. There it is. So they were talking about what they've been doing in the writer's room. So obviously they're still meeting, but they're doing it through Zoom, just like we're doing here with AfterBuzz TV, and doing all of their writer room conversation. And, you know, they were talking about how it's a little bit harder when you're limited to time. You don't get to joke around as much. You don't get to have as much back and forth banter. And they did say it was a strange time to be premiering for the first time in our 4 seasons. We actually had a slew of talk shows lined up. So they were supposed to be on Kimmel, Colbert, Corden, The View, CBS this morning, The Today Show, and a lot of other. But obviously, most of that had to be canceled due to, you know, making sure everyone is staying healthy. But the best part and the thing that they did contribute was we do have one promotional advantage. The name of our show is also the model of these times. Everybody says they're taking it one day at a time. So I love that. It's such a heartwarming show. And I'm sure that something around, this is one of my predictions, I guess, is that they may involve this within the scripts moving forward in the season if they haven't already finished everything. So we shall see. But yeah, that was amazing to see that. If you guys want to hop on over to Variety, there's a lot of different creators that I'm sure that you love that have contributed to the article as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Candice. And yeah, I love that these, you know, the whole cast and the whole crew, and especially the showrunners, I think are always so good about, you know, speaking on important issues in real life. And like they obviously very much care about the safety of like their cast and crew, which is something I really appreciate. And the show is literally just a little engine that could, like when they finally like get to do a lot of big press, like they can't like do it anymore. But you know what? That's not going to stop them, which I
know. And I think too, it's great because they also actually they were very proactive when it came to the virus. They actually shut down their studio audiences early, a couple weeks before they actually had to leave and like postpone the show just for the safety of their performers and their crew and everything. So kudos to them for being like diligent and proactive with that.
Absolutely. That's amazing to hear. And yeah, crazy times we're living in it, but I love, yes, the motto, one day at a time, which is great. We also have our fun little special segment for you guys. Elysa, would you like to introduce that to everyone?
Yes, so we're going to talk either our favorite comedy portion of the show or your favorite quotes. And I know for me, it was probably when Schneider comes in at the beginning of the episode when Maria Menounos is there. And he's saying, okay, is this everybody in your family? And then, of course, I knew Schneider was going to walk through that door. And he's like, who's the new guy? Did you guys replace me with, like, an older me? I just thought that was funny because I'm like, I knew he was going to walk through that door because he's part of the Alvarez family. So I think that was, like, the best part for me.
Yeah, I agree. That was hilarious. What about you, Candice?
Oh, I knew that was coming. Comedy moment. I loved the salad part. When Max was on the salad, and it wasn't even just the fact that he was on the salad, it's the way that Penelope took the plate and she looked at the plate and then she cradled it to the side and like stared at it. No, don't touch it, don't dress it. That was like the moment I laughed out loud. It was great.
I agree. I thought that was, I also laughed out loud, which is like when you're watching it by yourself, it's like on your laptop. It's not usually something you do, but I was cracking up. I think mine, I loved the line, in 10 years, President Kardashian is going to do away with all of this, because it's just so, like, so relevant, so hilarious. I just thought that was such a good quote. But
which Kardashian? We don't know.
We don't know. Like maybe.
I mean, we can only assume which one.
Or maybe Chicago. I guess there's the gender.
Oh no, they won't be old enough.
10 years? We don't know.
They
10
won't be
years,
old enough.
and this lot can change.
Listen, I want to keep that strict age limit right there.
Yeah.
Probably smart. Okay, guys. So they're predicting the Kardashians gonna be president. What are we predicting for the rest of this season?
Taylor, what are your predictions? I want to hear yours.
Okay, well, I think we're definitely going to meet Alex's girlfriend, and I think that Lydia is going to be extremely hard on her, but I think maybe she'll come around to her eventually. And I also think that Penelope might find herself in a new relationship, and I think that right when she gets comfortable, we might have Max come right back in.
Oh yeah.
I should have gone first. You took my last one.
Sorry.
Yeah, that with Max. I definitely think this is not the last we're gonna see of Max. I don't know. I'm just really excited to see what else is coming. I don't really have a lot of predictions yet other than that. I think that we might, we'll throw this one in there. We might have a wedding this year, but not with Penelope and Max. I think it might be with Schneider and Avery.
Oh, that would be so cute. I love that.
They're moving in together, so maybe at the end of the season we will have a little wedding on our hands.
Yes. Oh.
Or they'll have a little baby.
Oh, that's a fast forward. That's quick.
I don't know.
I think that I would love to see more of Victor and his wife, especially because she's so similar to Penelope. I would love to see them more on the show and see her interact a little bit more with Penelope and the kids. I would love to see the relationship with Syd and how it goes further. Like, do they talk more about we're going to stay together? Like, does Elena think that they should stay together, or are they going to talk more about breaking up? I would love to see how that develops as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm super excited to see more of Syd. We obviously love Sheridan. We had her on last season to be interviewed, and she was amazing. So yeah, super excited for everything that's to come. But thank you guys so much for joining us on the season premiere, and we cannot wait to keep talking about this week after week. Where can everyone find you guys on social media?
You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Elysa, _Acosta. And I hope to interact with you guys. Let us know what you thought about the show.
Awesome.
And you guys can find me on all my social media at Candice Cruz.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Elphaba_Ann and on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. We will see you guys next week. Until then, just take it one day at a time.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.